The Galactic Engineering Symposium had never seen anything quite like Marcus Chen. While the galaxy's most celebrated engineers arrived in vessels that gleamed with quantum-forged alloys and sang. With the hum of perfectly calibrated antimatter drives, Marcus drifted into the orbital station aboard what could only be described as a flying junkyard. The Prometheus Unbound looked like someone had welded together the remnants of a dozen catastrophic spaceship accidents and somehow convinced the resulting abomination to fly. Scarred hull plates from at least 7 different civilizations created a patchwork exterior. The propulsion system appeared to be held together with what the Crithian observers swore was actual duct tape, though the human insisted it was reinforced adhesive polymer strips. Ambassador Zixthar of the Sovereignty couldn't contain his amusement as Marcus's vessel shuddered into the docking bay. "The humans send us their jester," he announced to the assembled engineers, his crystalline face refracting the station lights into rainbow mockery. "Perhaps they wish to entertain us before the real competition begins." The Galactic Engineering Symposium's challenge was simple in concept, devastating in execution. Design and build a faster-than-light capable vessel using only the materials provided in the station's resource bay. The catch? The bay contained nothing but salvage, broken components, and obsolete technology deemed worthless by modern galactic standards. The engineers had 7 standard cycles to complete their vessels and race through a dangerous asteroid field to a designated checkpoint. The prize was more than prestige. The winner would secure a contract worth billions of credits to design the next generation of sovereignty warships, effectively controlling the military-industrial complex of half the known galaxy. Marcus surveyed his competition with quiet interest. The Crithian collective had sent their finest, beings whose crystalline neural networks could process quantum mechanics at speeds that made organic brains seem prehistoric. The Vex Dominion fielded engineers with 16 manipulator appendages and the ability to see in spectrums humans couldn't even imagine. The graceful Alindri possessed biotechnology that could grow starships from engineered seeds. "Your vessel," purred Celine, the Alindri's chief engineer, her luminescent skin rippling with barely concealed condescension, "is quite rustic." Marcus smiled and adjusted his grease-stained cap. "She flies. For now," Zixthar added. "The question is whether she'll fly after encountering the first asteroid." The 7 cycles passed in a blur of activity. The resource bay was a treasure trove for those who knew where to look. While other engineers turned up their sensory organs at the collection of primitive technology, Marcus saw potential. A broken Harvicore reactor here, a damaged Sylvanian drive core there, hull plating from a dozen different vessels, each with unique properties. The other engineers worked with elegant precision, their designs emerging as testaments to their respective civilizations' engineering philosophies. The Crithians built a sleek needle of a ship, all angles and efficiency. The Vex created a modular masterpiece that could reconfigure mid-flight. The Alindri grew something that looked more like a living creature than a starship, all organic curves and bioluminescent beauty. Marcus welded, hammered, and occasionally swore at his creation. The judges who periodically inspected the works in progress shook their various appendages at his ship. Nothing matched. The power distribution system looked like it violated 3 fundamental laws of physics. The navigation array appeared to be cobbled together from components that shouldn't even be compatible. "Human," one judge finally asked, "does your vessel even have a central computer core?" Marcus wiped his hands on his already filthy jumpsuit. "Nope, distributed processing. 7 different systems, 3 different operating architectures, all talking to each other through interfaces I built from scratch. That's chaotic. That's redundant. You can't hack what doesn't have a central node. You can't disable what has 7 backup systems running on incompatible software." The judge recorded this with what Marcus assumed was skepticism. On the day of the race, the assembled vessels gathered at the starting line. The other ships hummed with power, their systems operating at peak efficiency. The Prometheus Unbound rattled ominously, leaked something that might have been coolant, and made a sound like a dying accordion every time Marcus fired up the main drive. The asteroid field was notorious, a dense maze of tumbling rocks, electromagnetic anomalies, and gravitational eddies that had claimed more than a few unwary pilots over the centuries. The course wove through the worst of it, testing both ship design and piloting skill. The race began. The Crithian ship burst forward with mathematical precision, calculating trajectories with quantum certainty. The Vex vessel split into 3 autonomous sections, each navigating independently. The Alindri ship flowed through space like water, its organic sensors reading the field with biological intuition. Marcus's ship lurched forward like a drunk stumbling out of a bar, corrected, overcorrected, and then settled into what could charitably be called flight. Then, the asteroid field revealed its teeth. The Crithian ship's perfect calculations meant nothing when a collision triggered an unexpected cascade of debris. Its elegant design, optimized for speed, couldn't adapt quickly enough. It veered off course, scraping its pristine hull against a tumbling rock and tumbling into emergency shutdown. The Vex modular ship encountered an electromagnetic storm that disrupted the communication between its sections. They scattered, each part operating independently, unable to reassemble without their networked coordination. The Alindri living ship sensed the danger beautifully, but lacked the raw power to escape a gravitational eddy. Its organic drives, efficient in normal space, couldn't generate the thrust needed to break free. And then there was Marcus. His mismatched ship shouldn't have survived the first 5 minutes. But every time a system failed, another kicked in. When the primary sensors went dark in the electromagnetic storm, 3 different backup systems activated, each reading different spectrums, giving him a complete picture where others saw only chaos. When his main drive overheated, the secondary and tertiary systems compensated, their different designs spreading the thermal load. His ship wasn't optimized. It was adaptable. A massive asteroid tumbled into his path too fast to avoid. The other engineers, watching from the station, expected to witness a disaster. Instead, Marcus did something unprecedented. He fired all thrusters in what should have been a catastrophically unbalanced burn. The ship spun wildly, seeming to lose all control, then used that rotation to slingshot around the asteroid's gravitational field, emerging with increased velocity on the other side. It was ugly. It was improvised. It was brilliant. Marcus crossed the finish line first, his ship held together seemingly by willpower and spite. The judges were silent for a long moment. Then Zixtar spoke, his voice lacking its earlier mockery. "How?" Marcus grinned. "You all built the perfect ship for the perfect situation? I built a ship that could handle anything. Human engineering isn't about elegance, Ambassador. It's about making things work with whatever you have, in whatever situation you find yourself. We've been doing it since we lived in caves. But the mathematics are wonderful when conditions match your calculations. But space is chaotic. Reality is messy. You can't quantum calculate your way through every problem, because some problems don't have elegant solutions." He patted his ship's hull affectionately, and a panel immediately fell off. "Sometimes you need duct tape and determination." The sovereignty contract went to the human engineer who built a starship from scrap. And when the galaxy's military commanders saw what Marcus could do with garbage, they began to wonder what humanity might accomplish with actual resources. That thought kept several civilizations awake at night. Marcus just smiled and started sketching his next design on a napkin.